Hello, welcome to the second episode of my interviewing series. This one's called The Art of Selling. I'm here joined with Wendy Scott.
Hi.
Thank you. What is your story and how did you get where you are today?
Whoa. It's like how far back? With my current business or
with your field?
Well, first I started out with tattooing when I was 17, working in a tattoo shop. Then moved to France for 6 years and I tattooed there. I had a clothing store where I would go to the US, buy like 70s clothes, Letterman jackets, kind of kitschy American stuff, and then I would take it back over there and sell it for a fortune. And then I opened up a tattoo shop. So like a pair of Levi's over there, so that was early 90s. You could buy them here for 25 cents or something at a thrift store, and I'd sell them for like $400 over there.
$400?
Yeah. And
From
then
a markup of 25 cents?
Yes. And then I would also go to like the US Toy Co., which is still around, over on State Line, and they had like, you know, those little bopper rings that look like giant like diamonds, but you'd hit them and they light up. Well, you could get like a case of 50 of those for, you know, 10 or 20 bucks. And I'd sell them to all the rave kids in Germany for like, you know, 15, 20 bucks a ring.
So did that like kind of, because that's an entrepreneurial mindset, taking something and selling it for more.
Yeah.
Was that like something you were gifted with in a sense, like as a young?
Yeah, I guess
really
so. Because I needed to make money, and I just knew that people would pay for that kind of stuff. And I knew that they were already doing the Levi jeans in some stores, and I thought, you know, most people don't go back and forth to Europe, you know, that often, and I did it every 6 months. So I would go to the States, load up as many suitcases as I could, bring those over there, and have my little thrift store shop kind of thing. It was called Fripe sous-sol, which means like thrift store in the basement. And it was in the basement of this British boutique that was upstairs, and I would model their clothing and stuff like that for like Jean-Paul Gaultier and all that stuff. So I made money modeling and then selling those clothes, and then eventually I opened up a tattoo shop over there. So I did all three
Your
of
own
those.
Tattoo shop?
Yeah.
And you still do tattoos?
I do.
I've seen your Instagram page. They look really good. I'm interested in getting a tattoo.
Oh, man.
My mom isn't.
No, yeah.
She's not about it.
So I did that, and then I also started the candle business where I make the prayer candles, and I just put them on Etsy when I first started because I thought I'd make an extra like $40 a month or something.
Yeah.
But they caught on, so...
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, and so now mainly I wholesale because record stores and mom and pop shops saw them and they were selling so well that I wholesale large amounts to them.
When did you start
and
wholesaling? Because I knew about when you were like, when Sully told me about your candle business, I knew that you were like selling them to each individual. People would create their own, right?
Yeah,
or they would give you an idea?
They would do custom or personalized ones. When I started on Etsy was a great place to start just because they pay to get you out there on the internet. So you'll be number one on that page, you know, and your little niche, whatever you're selling. They want to make money off of you, so they're going to promote you. They're going to pay for all of the things to get you on that number one page. So with me, I was lucky because there weren't any other people doing it, which was awesome. But at the same time, Etsy has so much exposure that within the first month of me putting the prayer candles out there, everybody started copying them. So even people were taking screenshots of my images and then putting them on their own candles and then trying to sell them. So
how do you protect that? Like, what do you do now to not let people do that?
Oh, I threatened them.
Legal action?
No. Well, both. Yeah. So you just message them and let them know that don't do that anymore.
Legally, or they really just listen to you? Because I feel like people on the internet would just not give a damn.
Well, most people on Etsy would care, and then you can also on Etsy if you see the screenshots and it's the same one, you can notify Etsy, and they will kind of open up a inquiry about it and then look into it. But mainly, I just threaten them with legal actions or just better take it down. And then you just say, oh, there's loss of revenue, you can sue for this, sue for that, and then most of the time they don't want to deal with it. They'll just take it down.
So during that whole story background that you just gave, what were the biggest challenges that you encountered and how did you get through those?
Well, part of it was on Etsy. One, people stealing your stuff, which you got to think with any great idea that's going to happen. So when people do steal your stuff, or another company tries to make a bigger, better product or something even cheaper and tries to undersell you, you have to be able to still get business and go, I have a better product, but you most of the time almost have to match the cheaper ones, just because, like some of the record stores and some of the other people, they don't care if it looks cheaper as long as it's like, for me, it's a novelty type thing. So a prayer candle with Jimi Hendrix's face on it, or Drake's face on it or anything, mine, I have kind of the devil in the details. I really pay special attention to the design. I design each one individually, and then I have competitors that take the same 5 saint bodies and just slap a different head on each one and call it a day. And then they try to undersell you. So some companies will go, yeah, that works because it's $2 cheaper. I'll just get the crappier version. People are still going to buy it. So what you have to do is you have to make sure your customer service is better than theirs, your return or refund policy is better than theirs, you have to make sure your artwork is better than theirs, and then you have to match their price.
Good, because it's not just the product you're selling, it's the whole image.
Yes.
With everything you just listed.
Yeah, and you have to make sure that the customer is happy, and because that person that's just slapping the same thing on the same body and it's horrible, and they're doing it really cheap, and they're making them pay for half the shipping and everything, you have to figure out a way to change that. Uh-oh.
I'm sorry.
Don't be sorry. There's so many things that can go wrong when you're dealing with technology.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
It's pretty bad. I've had worse stories.
And then I have my online store where I make products using sublimation printing, which is printing from, it's awesome. Sublimation takes a solid form and goes straight to a gas form. And then when you print on it, it basically impregnates whatever you're printing on.
And then it comes later?
And then just infuses into it. So you can print it, and it's like a solid form, and then you wrap it, and then you use heat, temperature, and pressure, and with the gas, and then it just fuses into it.
Very quickly, because you sell a lot, so this has to be pretty fast.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Sully has told me that you'll show up for 1 week. I can't remember exactly what he said, but you'll show up for one day and make more than most people make like all week.
Yeah.
So what are your principles of selling that you've lived by? Like, what are some things that you always follow by, and things that you avoid when it comes to selling?
Well, when you're selling things, when you're selling them, you don't want to have to spend a lot of money on the products that you're wanting to sell. You don't want to have to spend a lot of time on those things, because stores will want, 3,000 units, and they want them in a month. So you have to make sure that you can do that. You can't. A lot of handmade goods and things like that, people are like, oh, it takes me 3 or 4 weeks to make, or we're building this, and that's great. But in my line of work, if I'm wholesaling to stores or record stores or like Urban Outfitters, Europe wanted me to have their candles, exclusive candles, in their stores for so many months, and they want 6,000 units every month for a couple months. You have to be able to produce that very quickly.
So it's all about efficiency. Efficiency sells.
Yeah, and you have to have your costs low. You sell high, but not so high that they won't want to purchase it, and then they even double it.
It's always a middle ground when it comes to like selling in business. Always try to find the middle ground. What helps you do that? Like, how do you find the gray area where it's not too high, not too low, or too effective?
It depends.
You don't want to have too much inventory.
Well, I make everything to order. I rarely make a bunch of stuff just sitting there, because one thing that's hot for this month or next month is going to be dead the next month after that. So you can't have, like, for example, for some reason there for a while, Guy Fury candles. I was selling so many of those every day, and people would say, man, why don't you just make, a couple hundred and have them sitting there? Well, a couple weeks after that, and stopped.
Okay.
So I would have been stuck with 300 Guy Fury candles from Food Network show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do with that? So you don't want to lose money, and you never want inventory just sitting there. It's horrible. You just don't. So I always try to make sure if it's a product that I can either make it to order or something that I know is going to sell. If it's something that's a classic, then maybe I might make some other ones. Or if I've had it in my store for years and it always sells, okay, it's okay to have a few of those around. But most of the time I try to make everything to order, so I don't have dead stock sitting there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that actually concludes everything. I know you have an Instagram page, and if you have like a website, put it in the video.
Yeah. Well, celebrityprayercandles.com. Yeah, if you go there, my Instagram is Kitchup Creations.
Okay.
And that one's a crazy spelling, so yeah, KITSCHUP and then Creations. That was a big mistake. I made a mistake. I made one mistake, and that was making a really weird spelling name that people can't pronounce. So that's why the website is celebrityprayercandles.com. So they can remember that. Kitchup Creations, they always go ketchup. So
Ketchup?
yeah, they always go ketchup. So pick a name that's short, sweet, and easy to remember.
Non-forgettable.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
Okay, that is going to conclude the second part of this series. The next episode will be with Chris Creason. That will be The Art of Business.